Alright, so far we have our socket server listening on the port 3000. We have Android running in port 4200. We have a service here, and with the function we just created, which is send message. Now we are going to do some uh, views in the Angular side. So we're going to show to users, to our front-end users, accessing our website with Angular, we're going to show them a button, right, to send this message to the server. The first thing we're going to do is to remove the entire content of the file app.component.html, and we're going to replace that with our own content. We are going to use a little bit of Bootstrap to do that. In a simple way, to use Bootstrap is as easy as going to Bootstrap, get as you do with a normal. There are other ways, right? But this is the easiest way, easy way I think for this tutorial. So Bootstrap will show you a couple of files you have to import in your application. So we're going to grab that first, the CSS, and we're going to paste it here in our app.component.html, which is the first HTML users are going to see from our Angular application. We will grab the JS part for Bootstrap. There are other ways to do this, but this is a simple one or a quick one that I want to show you. Here we are going to draw first the title, because users accessing our front end will want to see a title, and after the title I will draw a button. We are going to click and send a message to the socket using the function we have in our service, right? Alright. So to create just basic structure in Bootstrap, we use the class container, which automatically will do some spacing for us, which is create some margin at the top. Alright, something really simple. It's a basic HTML. Remember, we removed all the HTML Angular creates for us, right? Because we don't want that. We just want a simple button here. So we just we create a title with an h1. Now we create this button. We use the class btn. Alright, btn primary. And the label is going to say test send message, right? So once we click this, we're going to run the function we have in our service, right? To do this, we're going to use in brackets the event click. We are telling Angular that we're clicking this button, right? And once we click this button, we're going to execute this function, handle click send message. Let's be clear on the function names. Why that is in red? Well, because I have an extension here in Visual Studio that will check if the function exists in our class. Where do we have to write this function, handle click send message? Here in this HTML? No. We have an app.component.ts. You see there? Right, we click there. Alright, and there in that TypeScript class, right? Let's give it some format here. Let's separate things a little bit. Alright. Yes, this is just a variable. That's the way you define variables in the TypeScript class. Now we're going to create this method. Once we click the button, Angular is going to get this function, right? And this function, what is going to do this function? It's going to call the function we have in our service. That's simple. To do that, we need to define in this class where this service is and what variable are we going to use to call this service, right? Let's add some comments here so you know what is this for. Please remember this code is going to be in GitHub, so you can download it and use it for free and for learning about this. We will use the constructor in this class to define our socket service we created before, right? To do that, we create a private variable. The name is going to be socket service, and the type is going to be which one? Our socket service there. Visual Studio is a good friend, and he will find the class for us and look up there. He will automatically include that line import and to the file. Make sure that's the correct file and the correct path. Sometimes Visual Studio confuses with some classes and will import a different one, and you will get an error and you don't know why. So yeah, if I click here, Visual Studio is going to take me to my service where the method is. So that's the method we were going to call. That's function we're going to call, right? Send message with the 2 parameters there. So it's light gray there if you see, because we are not using that variable. So we're about to use it, and pay attention how Visual Studio is going to change the color. So socket service, and we're going to use the method send message, and it needs 2 parameters. Remember, the first one is the name of the user. You will have a login system here, so the idea is that you send here the name of the user logged in this application, and the message is going to be just a hard-coded one, which is hello world, right? So we're going to send to the server a message saying from the user test user saying hello world. That's it. That's the only thing we need to do to send a message to our server. Really easy. The only thing we need to do now is to save the changes there, and everything is good. Yes, and we are ready to test this next video.